where sports and combos collide. Authentic, unapologetic, no edits, no cap. Let the convo begin. No cap.
Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and convos collide. I'm your host, the Cobra.
Hey yo, I'm your host, Coach Milton.
I'm just here, man. What's happening, man? Everybody good?
What's good with y'all?
Yeah,
Ain't nothing much, man. Just chilling, bro.
What's good,
Everybody
Coach?
having a good week.
Long week, but love it Wednesday nights. We get to get on the show, have some fun, decompress. And tonight is going to be a special one because we got a special guest back there in the back room waiting to come on. And I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are waiting to hear this young man's story.
No doubt.
All right,
so let's
get to it. So our guest for tonight is a basketball legend out of Washington, D.C. He's also an author, an educator. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a young kid coming up. Former #1 basketball player in the country. And I don't want to give up too much because I want you to hear from the man himself. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Eric Price.
Yo!
Welcome.
I can't hear y'all, fellas. I can see y'all moving. I can't hear y'all though.
You can't hear us? Uh-oh.
You got
Did somebody try to call you while you was backstage?
You might have to take them off and remove them.
Log back on. He was good backstage.
Yeah.
That's that cricket service you
Can
got.
y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear y'all. Yeah. Okay.
He calling your phone. Anyway, Coach, while Kobe doing that, man, how you feel?
I'm not sure who.
you got
I
going
can't
on,
hear y'all though.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was doing good till all this rain started. You got the
Oh,
sun
y'all got
shining.
up there?
Man, you got sunshine, and it started pouring down about 15-20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
But
no
but
audio
outside of that, man, just
coming on y'all.
wrapping up,
Hey, can
trying
you
to
hear me
figure
now,
out.
Eric? Nah.
Nah.
Let me call him. Y'all go ahead, Coach Milton and O-Dog. Go ahead and rap. I'm gonna get E straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, it's just been, just wrapping up, spent the weekend with Navi graduating.
Salute to
Got
that,
him back.
man.
Appreciate
Salute to
you. Appreciate you calling and, tapping in with us too, fam. That's always big when you remember what we got on, how important you are to us.
Eric, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I went out and
good.
came back in. Yeah.
All right,
We
bet.
good. Let's do it.
You got Eric. We apologize. Kobe still hasn't upgraded from his Boost Mobile Plus 3.
Hold on. What my technology got to do with Eric's technology?
Because he got that. Hey, Eric, he got that ball. That's that Executive 3 shit. That's not that DC Blue Devils, Silver Spring Blue Devils. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel you got to start from somewhere though, man.
Hey, listen. Don't hold it against him, man. That's my cuz, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's that Boost Mode.
We'll talk about that later in the interview.
That's that Boost Mode.
And shout out to Coach Rob Jackson. I see he on here talking trash already.
Yeah.
What's up, Coach?
All right. So, Eric, we appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Okay, anytime, man.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth trying to get this thing scheduled, man. I'm glad we finally got it done. So,
for sure,
yeah. So let's jump right into it. So we all know that you was a legendary basketball player out at Washington, D.C. But let's start from the beginning. When did it start? When did somebody put the ball in your hand and say, look, this is your ticket?
Yeah, so I grew up in a neighborhood called Sursum Quarters in the Northwest DC area. Sits on the corner right off New York Avenue. So I'm born and raised there. That's when I first kind of developed the love of the game for basketball. Sursum Quarters was a notorious neighborhood for drugs and a bunch of other stuff, man, that is well documented. So the first thing that I always wanted to do that I thought about mentally was just making it out some way somehow. So basketball was just a gift that I was just gifted because back in the day, kids was on the court, kids were playing, kids were active. So that's where that love of the game came from. Number two Boys and Girls Club, of course, was kind of like our hub for sports. So you had a lot of great athletes coming up through that program. So just watching people and mimicking people like my late great brother Earl Risby. He was one of the main people that I like to watch. So I can remember vividly just playing boys club basketball. It started at about 10 and under. So if you were like 8 years old, you couldn't really play on the team. So I was always 2 years younger than my brother. So when he turned 10, we both kind of developed a drive at the same time, but I just wasn't able to actually, put on a uniform or play in the game. So just watching him in the stands and watching other people practice and turn it into play in the season kind of motivated me to, want to be great.
Nice.
That's dope.
So with you being, so young, man, and this, I think anybody who's done research is well documented that you, from a very young age, with all the things you could do on the basketball court, who was it that made you take interest and fall in love with playing defense? Because you spoke highly
Uh-huh.
of that early.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Most kids when they play, everybody want to be like Mike, shooting the ball, especially back in that time, everybody want to score. But you
Uh-huh.
were very intentional about your defense. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think that came from the neighborhood too. You had to have some type of grit coming up. So like I said, we always had, tremendous athletes. So the way that I could, implement my name on the game, especially being so young playing against older players, they weren't willing at that time to let me take over offensively. So if I wanted to insert myself, one thing that I knew early was that I needed to be involved in every play. So and the way to do that was just by playing defense. So it was just an effort thing to me. So always gave maximum effort. That's something that I've always done on and off the court.
When you so you was playing boys club and so what was your first coach that sort of said, okay, you killing this boys club scene, man. Come on, man. I know the AAU teams was recruiting you. So talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that, and also talk about where'd you go, where'd you wind up going to high school, and what made you go to that
Mhm.
particular high school.
Yeah, so it started with the coach named Jimmy Watkins. Rest in peace, God rest his soul. But Coach Jimmy was a well-known coach at number two.
Okay.
He was a non-nonsense guy. So he was a police officer, but at the same time, he mentored and coached the kids as well. So he was always one of those coaches that you had to play the game the right way to play for him. So whether that meant using the backboard or playing good defense, you wouldn't play if you couldn't do that for him. So that's where I kind of developed like that grit to always be involved in every play. AAU came when I was about almost 9 years old, going on 10. So when I was able to join, my boys club era was very short lived because as soon as I got whiffed that I was pretty good. Rob Jackson, guys like that would come to the boys club to kind of recruit me for
Yeah.
AAU. So I wasn't really familiar with AAU, so that was like the first and only team that AAU team that I was a part of. So
It wasn't no.
A
Yeah. Once you went to the best, wasn't no need to play for the rest.
yeah, yeah,
At the best.
yeah. So
No need
that
to play for the
and you're
rest.
right. That was the first time I've seen anything like outside of club basketball. So mind you, this was before high school, before any organized sports. So
Right.
that was really the first organized type of basketball that I witnessed. So
Okay.
being a part of that Blue Devils program, like the likes of myself, Ty Lawson, Roy Hibbert, Dante Cunningham, all those guys. So we all kind of started out on that team to kind of build the Blue Devils up. But yeah, that was
Right.
the first encounter with Rob once he recruited me from the number two Boys and Girls Club. Yeah.
Nice. Did he help you decide like what high school you was gonna go to, or did you? I mean, was it
No,
like just a group a decision, or you said, nah, this is where I'm going?
nah, not necessarily. So Rob was one of those type of people where he wanted me to grow into a man quickly because he knew like my talent and my age. It was kind of like a separation gap. So most of the lessons that Rob taught me weren't basketball related. Like I
Right.
already had the skills, I already had the talent. So it was mostly the off the court coaching and who to hang out with, who to associate myself with, and how to carry myself. Those were like some of the type of things that Rob taught me. But as far as like the talent, we all had talent, so he didn't really have to, you know, coach us up for that. But he was more of like a mentor,
Yeah.
to me more than a coach. But yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Okay.
Mhm.
And Eric, with you being such a standout player at such a young age, what was the high school recruiting like? I know there was high schools from all over trying to get you to come to their school and play for
Mhm.
them. So what was that like? I know you had private
Yeah,
schools, the
yeah.
whole nine.
Yeah, yep. It was definitely all private schools, but it's so funny because at the time Morgan Wooten was at DeMatha. Morgan and Joe Wooten was at DeMatha when they were recruiting me and my brother. Um, but it's so funny because my brother came to high school a year ahead of me, so his recruitment trail kind of my recruitment trail kind of followed his recruitment trail because people assumed that hey, I wanted to play with my brother, and that was true. But like I said, I just had to develop my own sense because once he started to get recruited, my brother was a totally different person than I was and different player than I was, but we had a type of connection where we wanted to play. So the reason why I went to Gonzaga was strictly because my brother had came in the year before. So we wanted to, to try to play together. It didn't end up happening because he ended up, transferring out that next year and I became the starting point guard. But that intentionally, that's what we were trying to do, play with each other in our high school careers. So yeah.
So with you being so young and having a big brother, did you get a lot of pushback, or did people just recognize and respect your talent from the beginning? Because
Yeah,
you said you went to the starting position later, but usually a lot of guys at that age have egos and they want to be
mhm.
the guy. How did that happen for you? What was it like for you being a
No,
young guy?
man, my brother was so good at the point guard position that nobody was going to take his spot. He wasn't worried if it was me. He wasn't worried if it was, the next player, next person up coming in. The point guard spot was something that he just did in his sleep. So he knew, that he solidified it. He was so smart back then that he kind of knew that adding me would be an addition because I was kind of more athletic. I could play off the ball a little better than he could. So it was more of kind of like a recruitment effort than anything. He always wanted to surround himself with the best players. So it was never a ego type of thing to where it's like, oh, my little brother is going to outshine me. He knew the type of player that I was, so I was always going to, rise to the occasion. So he always wanted players like that around him. So it was all
That's dope.
good. Yep.
That's dope. Yeah.
Go
And,
ahead, Cole.
and Eric, did you hit the ground running once you got into high school at Gonzaga, or did it take you a while to get adjusted to the varsity high school game?
No, it's so crazy, man, that it was so seamless because I even went to like summer school at Gonzaga to try to prepare, and I played summer league. And mind you, I was in eighth grade, and so I was fresh, coming out of eighth grade, and I was 12 years old. I graduated as an eighth grader at 12 years old, so I was actually 13 at Gonzaga my entire freshman year, but. It was just so seamless just because of the mentality that I had. Like back then, looking at it is kind of crazy because I was playing against grown men, basically, you know what I mean? But I didn't really look at it like that. I'm just looking like, hey, it's you, me, and the basket, and nobody's going to stop me. No one person is going to stop me from getting to the hole. So it didn't matter who you were, or what your age was. That was just a mentality that I always had.
Yeah. And
So
who
with
who was
you,
on that who was on that Gonzaga team with you? And who was your
Um,
competition team and individually?
so it was mostly filled with seniors. There was a kid named Joey Goodson. There was a kid named Mike Orfini. Um, who else was on that team? Those are the main guys. Howard Blue, he was a big man for us. But those main guys, like I said, they were all seniors, and I was a freshman. And mind you, I was 13 years old, so I was kind of like an early freshman. But like I said, none of that kind of really mattered to me when it came time to get between the lines.
Okay.
who at any time,
Who?
who
Who?
matched your energy?
Go
Who
ahead. Go ahead.
matched your energy? As far as like defensive intensity, offensive skill set, like was anybody early on that matched your intensity and skill set, or were you in kind of a lane by yourself because you were so young?
Yeah, so as far as skill set, I think I was kind of in a lane by myself because I can kind of remember vividly, like you know how the coach would tell her, like, "Listen, we're gonna play a 2-3." So I can remember vividly, like players being so intimidated when I'm bringing the ball up the court that they would just kind of they didn't, you know. So for a 2-3, a man, it's kind of like a matchup. Like you, one person on the top is supposed to, say, "Listen, I got the ball, I got the guard." I got the wing, whatever. They're supposed to communicate, but it got to a point to where they were just kind of looking at each other like, who's going to pick them up? So I would pick up on stuff like that. So, I would just kind of go to the basket. So I always believed that the name of the game was to finish. So I didn't have really time to play East and West. I always played North and South, whether it was defense or offensively. So going downhill, I was very, very tough to guard.
Dope.
Who was some other people that was ranked in when you in the area, like
Mhm.
other guards? Yeah, I know you said you played with Ty and stuff like that. Were
Uh-huh.
those your competition? Like
Oh yeah.
some of the guys that was on
Oh
your
yeah,
team?
yeah, for
Yep.
sure. So Ty Lawson, someone who probably matched or was very very close to matching my defensive energy was Marcus Ginyard. He was very active on defense too. So he was more of a off ball defender. He was a great on ball defender too, but so was I. But like I said, his off ball defensive skills was off the charts as well. But guys like Ty Lawson, we've always kind of played neck and neck. So they've always had the talent too. Even guys like Justin Castleberry, Dante Cunningham, people names that people don't really know, but these are actually pro athletes. So
Yeah.
just those type of guys, were always surrounded by me. We were always talented, but I think the thing that kind of separated me was that grit. And coming from the neighborhood that I came from, I definitely think that it played a huge part in my performance. Not to take anything away from those guys, but I do remember vividly Dante, Wesley Sweet, all of those guys. I remember we used to go to the military base to kind of pick those guys up for practice. And the difference between those guys was that they always had their dads around them, so telling them what to do and what not to do. And I think that that's very important because I never grew up with my father and had that guidance. So on those trips and things like that, I were doing things that that they weren't because their dads would kind of guide them like, hey, don't do this and don't do that. And having that military background, I think kind of helped push them guys a lot because all of those guys, their dads and their parents were in the military. So I could literally see like the change in the way that they raised their children, which was a great thing. So
That's dope, and that's crazy that you mentioned military because I was going to ask
Yeah,
you.
nothing. He's
mhm,
Um, I grew up in military. My stepfather's military, so I spent a lot of time at Fort Bragg. And one of the things that we used to do was go up there and play against the military, the enlisted guys.
uh-huh.
And it's what was the difference? Did you get a chance to play against any of the military guys, the older guys, or was it just the players? Because there's a difference in playing street ball and when you go
Got you.
inside that base.
Yeah,
Can you talk about that a little bit?
so I never got to play against the military guys, but I did get to see like the foundation of what it brought. So they might not have had the best talent, but they were well structured. They were well,
Hmm.
they were thinking 3 steps ahead. So
Hmm.
things like that kind of, enhanced our games for sure. But guys like Ty Lawson and Dante Cunningham, their dads were on base, so they would
Hmm.
get, those privileges all the time. So I'm sure it probably helped them too as well. Yep.
Yep.
So Eric, talk to us about when you was on the national scene. Some of these guys that was top players around the country.
Mhm.
What's your most memorable matchups and when you, I guess, kind of could reflect yourself and say, yeah, I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. Like, can you reflect on that? Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. So it was two separate occasions where I kind of felt like I solidified myself as a national player. One was I got a chance to play against JJ Redick at Cave Springs. I was a ninth grader. He was, committed to Duke. A lot of people might not know, but back then Duke was my top school, my favorite school that I wanted to go to. So when I got to play against JJ Redick and seeing Coach K and all those guys in the stands, it kind of did something to me to pump me up for that game. So we was on a fast break, and I think I like put it between my legs and behind my back. And JJ Redick, he just kind of backpedaled and fell. And then the crowd went crazy. And mind you, I was 13 years old, and he's on his way to Duke. So, and it was at his home crowd at Cave Springs, Virginia, where he had went to play high school ball at. So, once I saw that I could win over that crowd, because back then JJ Redick had crazy fans, and in high school back then. So, I thought that was pretty remarkable, and it kind of made me feel like, hey, listen, I'm ready for this national stage. The other time was AU Nationals. We were playing against Steph Curry in the national championship. Well, not Steph Curry. The kid name was Byron Eaton at the time. He played with a team called the Dallas Mustangs. So he ended up going to Oklahoma State. But he was one of those kids that were kind of ranked up very high too. So I will never forget the conversation that me and Rob had before the game. He basically told me like, "Hey, listen, if you want to be great, great players do great things in great moments." So I can remember that as a youth, and then him motivating me. I ended up having a quadruple double. So when at the end of the game, when Rob told me that, mind you, I'm 10 years old. I didn't even know what a quadruple double was, but I was just like, yeah, like you know what I mean. So that's when I kind of knew, like, hey, listen, I got a shot at, I can really do some things with this basketball that can kind of take me some places.
So
Go ahead, Coach.
As you, because
hear
again,
this,
you started getting the national scene spotlight on you early. How can you talk about how instrumental Coach Jackson was to you as far as handling it out? Because I know you spoke about you didn't really have your father around, you had your big brother, but how instrumental was Coach Jackson to helping you deal with all that spotlight that you were receiving when you started receiving it?
He was very instrumental. Coach Rob was one of those type of people where he would kind of let you make decisions so you can kind of see, what it was. He wouldn't kind of let you go off road too much. But my thing is that life is experience most brutal as teacher, but you learn from it. So he was one of those guys who he loved me toughly. So when he saw me, doing the wrong things or almost trying to go down the wrong path, he would kind of give me that cue to correct myself. So he was big on self-correction, and also just not just self-correction, but just self-awareness too. So like I said, he told me most of the things and most of the lessons that I learned from Rob were definitely off the court for sure.
Go ahead,
And
Coach.
Did you get the opportunity? Did you play in like Nike camps and Adidas camp and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I played at both. I played at Nike camp first, and then I ended up going to Adidas camp, I think the year after. Even though I was still on a Nike circuit and with the Blue Devils, I had teamed up with Curtis Malone. And the reason why I had teamed up with him that summer is because that summer I was given the #1 ranking in the nation, and that was for the class of 2005. So a kid named Sebastian Telfair was the #1 point guard in the class of 2004. So I kind of wanted to solidify my spot as the #1 guard. So in order to do that, I would needed to go to ABCD camp because I would never get to play against Sebastian on the Nike circuit. So that was like my main reason for participating in ABCD camp. But I definitely got to go there and match up against him. So that was good for the both of us, I think.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Not only being a young cat, but being from Virginia, did you experience any like negative connotation from being from Virginia at a young age, or did you even realize that was happening?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, from DC.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but even still, you on the national scene at that point. Any negative connotation from being from DC, especially with you being in the ABCD camp and the Nike camp and the Adidas camp?
So
how did that?
I think it was negative connotation, but I can't really speak on it because if it was, then it was kind of done behind my back. I mean, now that I'm an adult, I kind of put things together. But like I said, that's why I say like Rob is an influence to me, because even though he didn't really want me to go to ABCD camp or play within the Adidas team, he understood the microscope of it. So me just wanting to solidify my spot, he knew that was something that was big to me and that I kind of wanted to do. But no, like I said, you never know who has ill intent. So the best thing, especially for me, was just to try to do the right thing and also, always get my education. So that's what I teach the kids now. Like, no one can take your education away from you. So when I look back to the things that were done to me and the ways that I were treated and the monetary gain that was, gained from me, I can hold my head high because I still have that education. So some of those guys that, had ill intent, I'm doing better than them now. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's all about coming full circle and always, having, to be on baseline and keep your head above water. So it's always been like that for me, even since I was young. So, but yeah, it was definitely some ill intent involved. But I can't really pinpoint everything. But there are some things that, that I'm fully aware of now. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Eric, when did the college coaches start to flood in? Like, I know you said Duke was at the top of your list, but what are some other schools that interest you and showed a strong interest in you, and you thought you may have
Uh-huh.
been a great fit for them?
Yeah, so Coach Calipari recruited me early. He was at University of Memphis at the time. He had an
Okay.
assistant named Derek Kellogg at the time that was
Yeah.
always constantly, keeping up with my games and stuff. UNC, Kansas, Illinois was very heavy on me. That's when they had Deron Williams and D Brown in the backcourt. So I
Yeah.
remember, going to see those guys too. But those were like the main schools. At the end, towards the end, there were schools like Wake Forest, and stuff like that. When I was in 10th grade, actually, a funny story is I was already committed to play at the University of Memphis. So I was already committed to John Calipari. But
Mhm.
during that time, I was transferring to a different school in New Jersey. So remind you, we were just talking about Nike camp. So when
Yeah.
I was at Nike camp at the time, Luol Deng and Charlie Villanueva kind of recruited me to come and be the point guard for them to play at Blair Academy. It was kind of like mid-year, so I wasn't able to get accepted that year because boarding school you have to get accepted academically before you can do anything else. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in that year, but I came the following year. And I had, like I said, I was committed already to play for Memphis. But my coach at the time, Coach Joe Mantegna, I believe he may still be at Blair Academy, but he brought me into his office one day and he was like, "Hey man, listen, I want you to reopen up your recruitment." And I kind of gave him this look like, I'm good. This is John Calipari. Like he's going to
Right.
get me to the league. Like this is who I want to play for. I'm not sure why you asking me to, open up my recruitment. So when I became an adult, through certain sources, I found out that I guess him and John Calipari had this type of feud or something
Mhm.
going on. So like I said, things like that was kind of like ill intent to me because me as an adult, I wouldn't do that to a kid. Your journey is your journey. So I didn't know that back then. But once I did realize that, I'm kind of like, hey, all right, this is the game. People are about control and they want to, control the players and things like that. So it's still kind of going on now. But those were just some of the things that I was, experiencing coming up and being recruited. So I remember that phone call of me committing to him. And he said, man, listen, promise me you won't decommit. So he saw something that I didn't even see. Like I said, I was a kid, so I didn't really know the microscope of things, but he saw some things ahead that he knew that I could potentially see before I ended up at Memphis. So, and that was one of the things. So, I definitely see why he said, don't promise me to not decommit. So when I did decommit, it's kind of putting a kid in a bind because, like, who am I going to please? The college coach that I want to play for, or the current high school coach that I'm playing for? So things like that back then were kind of confusing to me. But like I said, there were just some people who had ill intent. But that was one of the decisions that I definitely regret for sure. Is decommitting from Memphis because it opened up a whole can of worms. People are saying now you have a 15-year-old kid and he's unloyal. I don't really know what loyalty is. I'm 15 years old, so
Right.
just little stuff like that kind of made me stronger, especially as an adult. Yeah.
Mhm. And this is a topic we've talked about multiple times on this show.
Uh huh.
Players of your caliber, it's been a long list of great players that come out of the DMV, and for some reason, Georgetown and Maryland just can't get those players. So, how was it for you? Like, how did Maryland and Georgetown let you get away and commit to Memphis and look at other schools as well?
It's so funny, man. I don't know what it was back then, but those guys never attempted to recruit me. So, like I said, like ill intent goes far. So you know what I mean? You had people in positions of power. Mind you, I'm playing AAU and I'm playing high school basketball. So you have some people that I'm pleasing, some people that are not so happy. So if that position of power gets into the wrong hands, and now you bad mouthing the kid, and who knows what? You telling the college coach, hey, don't recruit this kid for your personal reasons. You know what I mean? So I never really heard from. Actually, I heard from Georgetown when I got closer to college, but back then they weren't really recruiting me. I'm not sure what it was. Is because players weren't really wanting to come there, but they never really even made attempts. So I'm not sure if it's because of the top Power 5 schools recruiting me, or if it's just because they just kind of wanted to shy away from me. But that's something that I never understood, and I still don't to this day. So it's still kind of happening, but they definitely should try to keep if we have the best players in the DMV, then I feel like the college team should be the best too. So, but I never understood that, but I agree with you.
So as you move closer to your senior year, what was your top five, and
I
what
hear
was your
somebody keep moving. I can't hear him though.
you can't hear me?
He can't hear you. Oh.
Well, I'm asking him what
Yeah, I
was his
can't hear.
final five. What was his top five?
He said, as you got close to your final season, what was your top 5 schools that you were considering?
Illinois, Kansas, Wake Forest, and I think those were the top 3. I narrowed it down to about those 3. Yep, Illinois, Kansas, and Wake Forest. Yep.
So what was it? So those are your top 3 going into your senior year. What was
Senior
it about
year.
your senior? What was it about John Calipari that made you commit to him early? Can you talk about what it was that made you do that at an early age?
Yeah, for sure. Because I used to watch, like I said, I was always a student of the game, so I always paid attention to certain things. So I knew I wanted to get to the next level. So the guards that came before me, even back then, he was producing guards at a rapid rate in the NBA. So even his like playing style, but that's why I wanted to go to a school like Memphis or UNC, because they played the way that I wanted to play. So UNC, they still play that way to where they do, the secondary break and things like that. So I always my game was always off of reads and things like that. So I always wanted to make sure that I could play for, a person that could, capitalize my potential for sure.
TW0 to 430307 GJ. Oh, okay.
I'm mute your mic for a second, old dog. Yeah. So talk to us about the transition of you leaving high school and going to your next phase of being a student athlete. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, it was at first it was kind of like a struggle. So what happened was the last minute, it was a last minute decision. Like I said, Wake Forest was one of my schools going into my senior year. So I ended up signing a national letter of intent with Wake Forest, but I don't know if y'all remember back then at the time, the coach name was Skip Prosser. So Skip Prosser ended up passing away that summer. So it kind of messed everything up because I kind of formed a relationship with him kind of like right into that, that year. But once he passed away, it kind of messed everything up. And a new coach came in and everything. So I remember just sitting in, the admissions office and them just trying to work some things out. But it for whatever reasons, it couldn't work out. So I ended up having to go the JUCO route. But I ended up signing with Wake Forest because if you remember Chris Paul, that was the year that he got drafted. So it was like a seamless transition. But like I said, once Coach Prosser passed away, that kind of, everything kind of went away. So I ended up going the JUCO route.
Yeah. You would have loved playing for Skip Prosser too.
Yeah.
So when I played against his teams when he was coaching Xavier.
Okay.
So he had James Posey, Lenny Brown, all those guys.
Yeah. I remember him vividly, man. He was a good guy. God rest his soul for sure.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So
Oh, never mind. Go
No,
ahead,
no, go
Coach.
ahead. Go ahead, Cole. No, you got it. Go ahead. Okay, so
OJ has something to say.
you there?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear
Okay.
me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear
Yep,
you
yep,
now.
yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Uh,
ahead. Oh,
no, I didn't hear what he said. He went to the 5, and then you said you wound up going to what JUCO did you wind up going to?
So I ended up going to a JUCO called Chipola College, is in Marianna, Florida. We
Okay,
ended up going 36-1 that year. So we lost the national championship. We had a kid named Jamarcus Ellis who ended up going to Indiana. He was from Chicago. And also Andre, I forget his last name, but both of those guys ended up going to Indiana. We also had Mario Little who went to Kansas that
okay.
following year. So I
What?
don't know if y'all remember Keith Bromberg. But Keith was actually the number one player in college back then. So he was the number one player in college, period. And he was, at Chipola with us. So we definitely had a
Were
good
you a
team.
what? Did you qualify when you came out? Were you did you qualify, or did you go to
Yeah.
JUCO to get extra
Yeah,
to?
so I qualified. There was nothing wrong academically, but like I said, that relationship between me and Coach Prosser kind of went away after that. So it was kind of like a dead in the water type of thing. Me and the new coach just wasn't, a great fit for me. So that was the reason why I ended up going to a junior college that year. But yeah,
Okay,
but mhm.
got you, got you.
so it's crazy because again, I did not, I missed that part completely. If you've been going to JUCO, because we've all had our own experiences with JUCO on here, with the exception of Kobe, I believe.
I
Okay.
Um,
I didn't go to JUCO.
but you have a lot of knowledge of JUCO, so I'm gonna just ask this question
Mhm.
with regards to what was your experience like at the JUCO level with regards to you being considered one of the top, if not the top player coming out,
Mhm.
and then going to JUCO. What was the talent like for that for you
Oh, it
guys?
was
Like,
great, man. I don't know if y'all know about Chipola, but we could beat half of the NCAA teams that year. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Like we had some dogs, bro, and it was like
Mhm,
the talent was here. So it
mhm,
was everything else that was in between that separated those players. But like I said, we had pros, man. We had
yeah,
what's that kid name? He went to Iowa, Stefan Hanna. So Stefan Hanna was there the year before me. He went to Missouri and ended up playing with Chicago.
mhm,
Mike, I forget his last name. But there was a kid named Mike too who ended up going to Iowa State after that and ended up playing some time in the league too. So Chipola produced all pros for sure.
now, I just wanted to touch on that because a lot of people don't
Mhm.
understand. Like we talk about all the time, some of your prep schools, some of your junior colleges, especially now with so much going on with the NIL and
Yeah, yeah,
transfer
yeah.
portal and all that stuff. Kids seem to overlook that opportunity and
Uh,
the amount of talent that's running through those hallways at those programs. So I just
oh
wanted you
yeah.
to speak on that a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's very, very, very little difference athletically between a JUCO player and a Division 1 or Division 2 player. Like I said, is most of the things and most of the things that happen are dealing with off the court issues. It's never really a on the court issue. So if you come in, you playing
Uh-oh.
the case at all.
Is it just me or we can't see him, fellas? Am I the only one that can't
No,
see him?
no,
Easy at all
yes,
for sure.
okay.
Okay, there
Oh,
you
there
go.
you go. We
There you
got
go.
that. Yeah,
Now I appreciate you sharing with that. All right.
yeah. And
I
if you
think it's
think
always
about it, though,
important that
Coach,
people
and,
speak
Okay, I
on it.
think you muted, Coach.
can you hear
Okay,
me?
Can y'all hear me?
we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay, I can't hear y'all now.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, something happened when your phone blanked out or your computer. Can you hear us now?
Nope, I can't hear you, Cole.
Yeah. You might got to do the same thing. Go out, come back in.
Let me
Yeah.
try to go out and come in.
Yeah. So while he going out, just to continue the conversation with junior college,
I
you
can't hear
think?
you now, Kobe. Either.
Can you hear me, Coach?
I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, he can hear me.
Shit, sir.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear all y'all now. Yeah.
All right. Good. Good. No, we
Yeah.
were just going to expand on the conversation about junior college because I was like, if you think about it, all the list of players that I know that went to JUCO route, whether it was Allegheny, Hagerstown, San Jack, out there in Florida, like where you went. I know some guys that went to Kansas.
Mhm.
Um, you know, once they got out of JUCO, they were all like ready, ready to hit the floor running. They were grown men going into college, and they was playing it like
Mhm.
you said. They was playing against guys that athletically was already at the D1 level, but off the court things kept them
Mhm.
from being a D1 player as a freshman.
For sure, yeah. And college coach back then, back when I was getting recruited, man, if you came from a JUCO and you spent 2 years at a JUCO, man, those college coaches was crazy. They wanted to recruit you better than they did top high school seniors. It's kind of like it is now with like the NIL and stuff like that. So what it's doing is it's forcing it's knocking high school seniors out the box. So if you're going across seas and you're trying to recruit a player to come and play at college, it kind of minimizes the those top seniors. So you might have a kid that's been playing pro since he was 16 years old overseas, and those college coaches, those are the players that they are wanting to develop and be on their team now. I look at a team like Arizona who kind of made it all the way, and that's basically the makeup of their team. So there's kind
Yeah,
of like a new blueprint now for sure. But that was the old blueprint back then, was those JUCO players were taking the place of those overseas players because they would get that repetition and they would get that college experience. So coaches were definitely more inclined to recruit those JUCO players rather than a high school senior.
facts.
Mhm.
And so after you leave Chipola, what's next?
Yeah. So after I left Chipola, I kind of lost my love for the game a little bit. And I say that because I came from being one of the top players in high school to having to go the JUCO route. So I didn't really get discouraged, but I definitely got a little burned out. I've been playing basketball since I was 9, 10 years old, and it wasn't always about basketball with me. It was always about politics. So once, and like I said, I was always a person that kind of was thinking 3 steps ahead all the time. So once I got to Chipola and I kind of finished that year out to see what, the college experience is like and what, I would want to do. The main thing I was thinking was like, hey man, you got to get your degree. No matter what you do, you got to get your degree, because if you don't, you're gonna end up going back to search some quarters with your friends, and you'll be a statistic just like 50% of the basketball players that came up. And because I heard 100 stories about even in my neighborhood with Duke here was this, a Bebe doing, and all of these guys, they were this and they were that. So seeing some of those things, that was just something in the back of my mind, like, listen, there's some way I got to make it out. So I ended up going to a couple of different junior colleges, and then I ended up going to a 4-year university, which was in Colorado. So I went to a school called Fort Lewis College, which was in Durango, Colorado. But like I said, at that tail end of my career, my main focus was on, just getting that degree. Because once I was already in college and I was going to school for free, I kind of figured out, like, listen, man, I need to take advantage of this opportunity. So I definitely used basketball and didn't let it use me. But it was definitely a thing of me, kind of being burned out, and not only that, but just reflecting back to the treatment of the way that I was treated coming up and through high
That's
school and stuff like
that's what
that.
I
So
want to get to.
yeah,
E, I
so
want I want I want to go back just a little bit. Sorry to cut you
yeah,
off, but
you
my
all right,
thing
bro.
is, you the number one ranked player in the country. I know you said your coach was having some high school coach, but you telling me ain't nobody reach out? All them people was recruiting you in the beginning. Ain't nobody reach out and say, hey, if things don't work out, hey, we here for you. Hey, we'd love to recruit you maybe after your first year. I
Yeah,
mean, especially if you are qualified. Most people go to junior
Yeah,
college if you're not a qualified,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. You're right, man. But
So
like I
I'm
said,
like, you telling me you number one ranked player in the country, and these people still. I mean, what kind of dude was this? What was he
yeah,
saying?
yeah. It was ill intent. Like I said, it was ill intent everywhere. I couldn't really pinpoint it or, point out where the ill intent was coming from, but I was always well aware enough to know that things were going on around me that shouldn't be. That's good that you bring that up, because me being so aware, I've always considered myself to be highly intelligent. So as a senior, I kind of started calling coaches as the number one player in the nation. So if you think about that, that's kind of crazy.
That's
You have a
crazy.
number one player reaching out to coaches because I felt that ill intent that was going on behind my back. So it started since ninth grade. If you think about it, I went to 5 different high schools. Every year I went to a different high school. People were assuming that it was academically inclined or something that was going on outside of basketball or off the court. It was just power struggles every year. So ninth grade, I go to Gonzaga. I have to make a choice. Do you want to play for Rob Jackson with AAU, or do you want to continue to play summer league and be a part of my high school program? So me, I'm always betting on myself. So I want to be the best that I can be, and the best that I can be is by playing against the best talent. At Gonzaga, I couldn't always do that. It's the WCAC. So I was, measuring things like that up
Right.
to what was best for me. So making decisions like that ended up hurting me, and it shouldn't, because like I said, some of those coaches had ill intent. So mind you, the next year I ended up going to Montrose Christian because I wasn't walking back, at Gonzaga. So I ended
Right.
up going to Montrose Christian and had a very good year playing for them. And then here comes summer again. I'm stuck with the same decision. So Coach Vetter brought me into his office, and I love Coach Vetter to death. He's one of the best coaches that I've ever played for in my life. He's a fantastic talent as far as like X's and O's and being able to motivate and develop talent. So I'm
Right.
never going to take that away from him. But there was a time where he brought me into his office, and like I said, like I mentioned to you, I was already kind of committed to play for Duke back then. So a lot of times people wouldn't recruit me because they knew how bad I wanted to, kind of go to Duke. So he brought me in his office and he said, "Hey, listen, man, if you walk out this door and if you go on this AU trip with Rob Jackson, I can guarantee you 2 things. One, you're never coming back to Montrose. 2, you will never hear from Coach K again in your life." He knew how much I loved Coach K. So that kind of stuck to me. And it's like, okay, it's time to bet on myself again, but I know that I'm gonna have to let Duke go. So that was a hard decision for me. But like I said, some of those adults were putting those decisions on me, and I didn't really know, which way to sway. And like I said, they kept bringing up the loyalty aspect of it, but how you going to ask a 14-year-old kid to be loyal to an adult and you're not loyal to me yourself? So I didn't know those type of things back then. But like I said, high school and AAU, those were always 2 battles that kind of defined my career. So I was kind of considered like the poster child of AAU basketball. And it was a Slam magazine article that was wrote on me, and they kind of deemed me the poster child of AU basketball. And I didn't realize what poster child kind of meant until I became like an adult. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, some adults just exploiting those kids, and they're in positions of power. So of course it's going to kind of trickle down to the next coach and then the next coach, because that's something that I kind of remember all the time, is that coach is not threatening me but kind of getting in my ear. They're saying like, listen, hey, coaches talk and this and that and the third. So I think they kind of use that as a scare tactic towards me to try to get me to stay with the program. But like I said, it kind of never worked. I always wanted to bet on myself. But yeah, that was definitely the defiance of my career, AAU versus high school basketball.
It's crazy now because now it's the opposite. A lot of the kids that I know that play AAU ball, they don't even come close to playing high school. They be like, for what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But some of them, they need to play. They playing in mom and pop AAU tournaments. Price. Them
I
shits ain't
guess.
even real, and they sorry as hell. They some
I
shit.
heard, yeah. I
Yeah,
heard
they
it's
be
different
terrible.
tiers and different
Yeah, they
levels
be
that
terrible.
AAU
They
was. It
playing,
wasn't
man.
like
Hey,
that
look,
back then when yeah.
hey, us four right now, we can get together and put together get 12 teams, call it an AAU tournament, and give out some trophies and some
Yeah.
T-shirts. And talking about y'all played in the
Yeah.
No Cap Sports Show podcast AAU tournament.
Yeah, it's all monetization for me. It's crazy, man, because
These
back
niggas.
then, man, you had a couple of good AU tournaments. There were a handful. You
Yeah,
had the Adidas Big Time. You had a Houston. I think it might have been called like the Houston Hoops or something. The Georgia Peach Jam. Those were kind of like the top two. If you weren't doing that, then I don't know what you were doing. So other than that, it was just AU Nationals. But those were the
yeah,
the programs back then that we would kind of go
crazy,
to for sure. Yeah.
crazy. Very
So
Yeah.
when you talk about Eric, when you talk about, because you touched on a little bit, they threw
Mhm.
around the word loyalty. So as you're moving through your schools, your programs, and you're talking to your coaches that you're currently entering to their programs, how was the conversation with those guys? Because when you talk about you were you had a coach hold Duke over your head, and Vetta was like, well, if you walk out of here, you're not going to talk to Duke again. And then you had a coach try to talk you out of, well, actually talk you out of decommitting from Memphis. Like,
Mhm.
what were you thinking with that whole piece? Like, you never thought that that would be something that would catch up to you, or did you? Again, I know you were young, but it
Mhm.
sounded like there was a trend because you always had somebody pulling at your
Yeah.
coattail about,
Yeah.
what you should be doing. When at the same
Mhm.
time, I tell kids now, some of them anyway, you're the prize. Like, don't let somebody make you feel like that they're bigger than you, when especially in today's climate, but back then it wasn't that way. But you
Mhm.
were actually the prize. Like O said, you
Mhm.
the number one player. I don't care how many schools or how many years or how many JUCOs or programs, you still was one of the best players to come out. And I don't, 3 years don't mean that you're not still the same cat that you was coming out of high school. Like, how can you
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about what that thought process for you then? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and add on to that.
Mhm.
Why also at that question too? Add on to that. Why didn't you just go to a public school? But go ahead.
Got you.
Answer
Great.
that one after Coach Milton's
Both
question.
both of those are great points. So I think about that all the time. The funny thing is I come from the hood. I come from a very, 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 very rough
Yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah,
So
I'm with you.
so
I
so
know surgeon quarters very well.
yes.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm painting that story is because it's crazy. Kids that come from situations like that, they crave structure, they crave order. So I've always been one of those people to where, like, I'm looking for success. So I'm looking at these people outside of the neighborhood and I'm deeming them successful because one, they're not in the hood, and two, they're doing things that, not risking their lives every day like I have to do. So some of those adults, that's where I kind of put instill my trust into. I kind of looked at that as successful. So like I said, it was ill intent. Now that I've, become older, but back then, like I said, I didn't know what loyalty was. So if I'm in a position where my parents are trusting me with this adult, then I'm expecting this adult to have my best interest. So like I said, you can't really pinpoint ill intent because that's a personal thing that you have to deep kind of dig down inside to kind of determine whether you have it or not. So those were kind of like the moments that kind of stuck out to me because I was so young. So I just felt like, I didn't really know. I assumed that it was love, but it was definitely people that were out for their own personal gain for sure.
So if you was to go to a public school back then, what would be your public school you would have went to?
So I actually did go to a public school. If y'all remember when I said I went to Nike camp and I didn't go to Blair Academy that year. So it was kind of like a down year for me. I knew I was going to go the following year, but I ended up going to Dunbar. So me, Trey Kelly, and my brother were the guards on that team. So Vernon Davis was the center on that team, and we lost like maybe 2 games. So we lost in the city title to Gonzaga, which is where I went the year before. So it all kind of came together. But like I said, there were some things that kind of worried me about public schools because me coming from the neighborhood that I did. I felt that I wouldn't get the structure that was needed. So you know what I mean? To get things that you've never had, you got to do things that you've never done. So I've always been around like those neighborhood guys and things like that. So I felt like if I didn't separate myself, then I wouldn't be successful. You know what I mean? So
Got you.
there was
Got you.
nothing really wrong with public school, but I just know that I needed to be in a different setting to, kind of better myself as a person and as a player for sure.
Can, can I say this, man? And I don't mean to be. I hope it don't come across as being negative or
No, no, not at all.
disrespectful.
Go ahead. Yep.
But you keep saying that you were looking for structure. But god damn, bro, you had a whole lot of disruption going on at that
Yeah.
time. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't never feel that. Like, you're looking
No.
in the right places. You're looking for the right things. But you had some crazy shit going on around you that just seemed like, again, not knowing, you're young, but you're also highly intelligent and you're highly aware. So at
Mhm.
no point in time did you say, "Hey, wait a goddamn minute,
Oh yeah.
wait, this
Oh yeah. So
something ain't
yeah.
right about this."
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I started to feel like that. So that's why I tell you, like, as the number one player, I started to do small things like call college coaches. Like
got
that's
you, got
unheard
you.
of. Like I there was something that clicked to where, like, listen, somebody's gonna try to fuck you over at the end of the day. I don't know who it's
Mhm.
gonna be. I don't know what it's gonna be. But one thing that I learned early is especially about the media, because we didn't have like platforms like this back then and there. Like people, if you knew who Eric Price was, it's because you saw him play. It wasn't like you saw YouTube clips or Instagram clips and things like that. So that was some of the things that kind of worked to my advantage back then. But yeah, you're definitely right about that for sure, man.
Yeah. We have one of our viewers, OG Lee. What's up, Lee? He said, "Where were your parents when you were going through this?" So I know in the onset of the show, you already said your dad wasn't around. But was
Uh,
it a case where, because I know if it was up to my mom, she had no clue about this basketball
exactly.
stuff. Yeah. So
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 listen, man, my mother raised three children. She worked for the United States
yeah.
Postal Service. So she was a working woman. So you know what I mean? Like she couldn't be there. Like she knew people like Rob Jackson who had like my best interest and stuff like that. But my mother couldn't physically be there. But it's so funny because I'm a direct image of my mother. Like she used to, when those college coaches used to call and she knew some of those schools that I didn't even want to talk to, she would curse me out sometimes. She'd put the phone down and she'd be like, listen, if you don't want to go to the school, at least tell me so I know how to deal with them. But like you won't even tell me now. So my mother was very tactical. She knew certain things too, but she always stressed to me, like, listen, get your education because it might, it can, not work out. So even things like that going on AU trips and stuff like that. The first thing my mother used to tell me was, so don't tell them people you got no money. If they ask you, you don't have no money. Whole time I had about $300-400 in my pocket. She didn't want me to spend so she was one of those type of mothers that always wanted to look out and always was aware. But like I said, she couldn't always physically be there. And even if she could, she didn't understand the magnitude of recruitment or things like that. So if I got into a good private school like Gonzaga or something like that, she was happy enough because I was getting my education. So the basketball aspect of it never really mattered to her. So and she just
Right.
liked it because she knew that she supported it because she knew that, me and my brother loved it. But she always overlooked basketball. She's just like, she made sure our homework was done and stuff like that. But no,
Come
other
on.
than that, man, like,
Hey,
no,
E,
yeah.
I blame Rob.
Mhm.
Rob should have brought you out Mo County. You should have went to the best high school out there, Springbrook High School basketball, and you would have won a state championship,
Man,
and we would have had you taken care of, and you would have
man,
did your thing. I'm
it's
telling
so
you.
crazy, man, because I
Blame
remember
Rob
like
Jackson.
once I got to like 10th grade and like on a national scale, there were high schools around the country that were recruiting me. So we talking about Oak Hill. There was a kid named Anthony Roberson who played for the University of Florida, and he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. So he recruited me to come to play in Saginaw, Michigan at his high school. So just I felt that recruitment even before college because there were some high schools that were trying
Yeah,
to get me
yeah.
to team up with them too. So, but yeah, for sure.
That's
So can
dope.
we go back a little bit when they asked the question about anybody, but like your brother's career was kind of parallel to yours as well. What,
Mhm.
how did your brother's college recruitment and how did his stuff go? Because it sounded like you guys were kind of in line. Was it something happened like? Because I know like you followed your brother's footsteps in one or two of the situations, and you guys ended
Mhm.
up playing together again.
Yeah.
What happened with your brother's college career that kind of that he wasn't able to kind of help you, or was
Yeah.
he just doing his own thing?
Mhm.
If that
Great
makes
question.
sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think a lot of coaches got that confused, so that's why it kind of declined to me because me and my brother, like, even though I looked up to him, there were fundamental differences between the
Hmm.
two. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Academically, on the court and off the court. Now,
Gotcha.
he had raw talent. You know what I mean? He
Hmm.
didn't practice. He didn't lift weights. He didn't stretch. He didn't do stuff like that. He was just I'm serious. He had a natural
Nah, I'm
talent.
laughing
Like,
because
you
that's
know
so
what I mean?
familiar.
So
Nah, I'm
yeah.
with you.
It's
Nah, I'm
so
with you.
crazy
Raw.
though. But me, I was one of those workhorses. I was one of those
Hmm.
Iron Men. So I was always in the gym. I was always perfecting my craft. So my brother knew early that, he gonna, go as far as basketball could take him. My brother was big on living life, so he never really cared about that. So it goes back to the question when you said like, was he feeling some type of way? He the one who actually recruited me to come and play with Gonzaga, so he could take a backseat and chill. So little stuff like that. But he never was. He loved the game, but like I said, he taught me lessons because sometimes I would take basketball personal. I didn't like to lose, so I would take stuff like that home. I didn't like to get scored on. I would take stuff like that personal, little stuff like that. So he would teach me like, hey man, it's just a game. So after the game, like let's go hang out. We can chill. Like it's okay. You know what I mean? So he kind of taught me those aspects of it, but he was just a natural talent for sure. So he never really had plans on going to college. It's so funny because my mother when he was in about 10th grade, I was in 9th grade, and Surfside Quarters is a crazy place. So can you imagine a 15-year-old telling adults what to do? So he running the neighborhood. And so my mother used to get upset because she would come outside like, why the hell are y'all listening to a 15-year-old boy? Y'all are grown ass men. So my mother used to get mad at stuff like that, but that's just the type of power and stuff that my brother had. So he was always tight, like a social butterfly for sure. But yeah, that's definitely he never really wanted to pursue basketball past the high school level for sure.
Makes sense. Got it.
Go ahead, Cole.
So something that you said earlier where you was going to use basketball, wasn't going to let basketball use you. And and when you're a player with your talent, that's kind of a different mindset because most of us who top players, we going to college, we thinking one and done, or we thinking we going to the league after we get out of here. And it's all about getting to that next level of your sport and making that bread.
For sure.
But your mindset was focused on education first.
For
so
sure.
As your college career was finishing up, what was your plans for your next phase? What was your plan A, plan B, plan C, so to speak?
Great question. So I always knew early, especially young coming up, that the media will build you up to tear you down. I listened to people like Jay-Z, and I took like you always become a part of somebody. So I think about like the music and the culture and things that influence me. And Jay-Z said one time that listen, first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. So at that age, I remember vividly listening to influential people like that towards me. So when it got time, like towards the end of my career, like I said, I was calling college coaches. I was kind of promoting this self-awareness type of thing because I kind of knew in my head what was going on. I wrote a best-selling book a couple years ago called Full Court Press, A Young Basketball Prodigy's Journey. And the reason why I wrote that book is because I knew that once I made it to the top and something happened, I had a story to tell of resilience. So my story was written already. So it didn't matter whether I was a pro or not because I could live to, become an author and write a book and tell my story to hopefully, show kids what not to do. But it doesn't matter. You could be the number one player in the country like I was. It doesn't guarantee you that you're going to be a pro. And even if you are a pro, I talk to Kevin Durant all the time and we talk about this like, man, he's a 1%er. So you're not really going to have to worry about people like him. But there's going to be a time when you're going to need that adversity and that resilience, even if you become a pro. Because think about the kids that, have long careers in a pro. They might be pros for 10 to 15 years. What do they do with their first contract? They work very hard for their rookie contract. Their second contract, they may even be working harder. By the time it gets to that third and fourth contract, most of those players are thinking about long term and their monies and their businesses and things like that. So success is something that's never ending. You always going to have to strive to be successful. So no matter what you're doing. So that was something that I realized early. So my main thing was thinking like, hey, how am I going to tell my story? How am I going to write my story? How am I going to be successful without bouncing the basketball? So that was something that was always in the back of my mind for sure.
That's what's up. Salute. E, were you at Montrose when KD was there?
No, so KD came, I think, a year or two after me.
Okay.
I was there. Lennox Kaliza was there, so he played for Denver Nuggets for a little while. Nick George, Troy Haley,
Okay.
those guys were there. So I came in like a year or two before Tony Bethel and Drew Hall. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Got you. Gotcha.
So you talk about writing a book. Can you talk about why education? Like what made you? I think it's self-telling, but I would like for you to kind of speak on it
Mhm.
because it seemed like education was where you focused at. Like you know, just kind of following some of the stuff you're real big on educating, working with kids and things of that
Mhm.
nature. When was that decision made? And then why that? Like, can you
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think it was made as early as an eighth grader because, like I said, even though I was ranked that high in the country and the number one player in the country, it afforded me to go to the most affluent schools as well. So me coming from the neighborhood that I come from, and then having to travel across the town to Georgetown to see like how those people kind of carried themselves, how they live, that was something that I always kind of knew. So I'm looking at these, affluent people, but they're not playing sports. So I'm like, what is it that you do that that you live in this big house and stuff like that. So I was always curious about stuff like that. But like I said, going to those schools, I got to see what your life could be like if you got an education. You know what I mean? So most of the families and things that I were around, they were two-parent families. They were college educated, so it was a direct correlation to where their kids would be end up being successful too. So that was something that I've always wanted for myself and my family as well. So just seeing that just kind of gave me that idea that listen, like you need to kind of separate yourself and do something different in order to be successful.
And
So
even
I
even
hear I
doing
hear I
you,
hear what you're saying, E Price, but once
Mhm.
again, man, Rob Jackson, what you doing, bro? Come on, Rob. You could have brought him out to Springbrook. He could have won.
Yeah,
And Springbrook won. I think they won a state championship. That's when we won 3 in a row. I think
yeah,
03, 04, 05, or 04, 05,
yeah.
06, something like that. Come on, Rob.
Yeah, I
Come
almost
on,
I
man.
almost got recruited to Magruder with Isaiah Swan, but funny story with Isaiah, man. So when he was going to Magruder, I forget what school I was going to. Brian Johnson was going to O'Connell at the time, so
Yeah.
they gathered all three of us up in this minivan and they drove us down to Oak Hill Academy. So it's me, Isaiah, and Brian Johnson in a van going to Oak Hill to try to, visit there. So I can
Right.
remember vividly, like we pulling up on the campus and I see a damn goat on the side of the road. So I look at Isaiah and I look at Brian. I'm like, y'all niggas coming here? They like, yeah. They like, you come here? I said, hell no. I went home the next day. So, like, look, coming from the city and stuff, the animals and
But
stuff
wait
like
a
that, wasn't
minute,
with
E.
them back
What
at the
about
time.
seeing now that you gotta go venture off and do different things, E?
Man, listen, I'm telling you, this is a true story. The number one reason why I did not go to Oak Hill was because I saw that goat on the side of the road. And I did
Hey,
not, I swear to God, I was so scared. Man,
hey.
we ended up turning but Brian and Zeke ended up going to Oak Hill. So they ended up going, but I was the only one who turned around and was like, nah, I'm going back home. So we can find another school besides Oak Hill. So for sure.
Hey, listen, I understand.
Man.
I understand completely about prep schools, brother.
Uh-huh.
I'll let Rob next time you talk to Rob, you can holler at him about that one. Trust me, I understand about prep schools. Trust me,
Yeah.
I'm with you with that one for
Yeah.
sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
they ain't created equally for sure. So
Not at
man,
all,
listen.
not at
I
all.
feel, hey, look, I play at Oak Hill, and they in the middle of nowhere, right on that Tennessee borderline,
man,
bro.
Mount the Wilson, I'll never forget.
Mouth
Never
the
heard of
Wilson, Mouth the Wilson, and I thought I went to Hargrave. I thought that was bad, but
Oh yeah,
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 yeah. Hargrave, yeah,
Oak Hill was tucked
yeah.
all the way.
You remember? Y'all remember Laurinburg in North Carolina? Laurinburg
What?
Institute. Oh
Hey,
my goodness.
Lawrenceburg was like the hood. It's like Brooklyn. Everybody from New York.
Yeah, so,
Crazy,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
crazy,
that's what's
crazy,
up.
crazy.
So,
Go ahead, Cole.
yeah, I know you prioritize education and you wanted that education to take you to the next level, but you were so great at basketball, like it that had to interfere with, let's say, if you had plans to do something else outside of basketball, you had to keep going in terms of athletically because you were so good. Like, so what
Yes.
was like the NBA overseas? What was it that you continued to do before you say, okay, I'm putting up the basketball shoes in and focus on something else?
Yeah, so like I said earlier in the show, like once I went JUCO, um, I kind of I kind of lost a feel for the game. So, like I said, I knew that I was already in college. So at this time, however my recruitment was going, so whether that was on the court issues or just people trying to use me or whatever the case may be, badmouth me or whatever, that's what made me more inclined to like, hey, listen, you got to get your education while you're here because once you're out. You might have to pay to go to school or something like that. So the coaches didn't know back then that that was in the forefront of my mind. So like I said, I was always good defensively, so that was never an issue with me. So just playing hard, I figured like, hey, I got to play hard on this court in order to be able to pay for my education, and that's exactly what it did. So,
Nice.
mhm.
So did you go to any NBA camps?
No. So I got a few inquiries to go overseas, but back then, overseas wasn't like what it is now. So a lot of players are more frequently, doing it. But like I said, I kind of lost the love for the game. All I wanted to do was to be able to get my education so I can live my life. Just imagine a 10-year-old being used since the age of 10 and all of these things are said and talked about and did. So it kind of created like a mental health type of thing, man, to be honest, because like I said, if you don't have that resilience, I look at people like Sebastian Telfair and Delonte West. Those are some of the guys that were experiencing the same things that I've experienced. So you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
mentally they can check out. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that those are the reasons why those guys are, kind of dealing with the things that they're dealing with now, but I can guarantee you that there's going to be a time in your life where you need to be resilient no matter who you are. So
Yes, sir.
just having those type of things and knowing those type of things, I think kind of prepared me for life well after basketball. So for sure.
Salute.
Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah. So Eric, you All-American basketball player, um, um, and everything else. I mean, did great in school, did great at athletics. Tell our viewers and listeners what you got going on there, what you're doing now to impact the community and giving back to some folks that maybe was in your position right now.
Yeah. So right now, like I said, I wrote a book called Full Court Press: A Young Basketball Prodigy's Journey. I'm in some talks with Hulu and a few other film companies to just try to develop it into a film. Because like I said, I think it's important for kids to hear my story, whether you're an athlete or a parent of an athlete. People get it confused because my story isn't a story of success. It's a story of resilience. So it's not, where did he go? How did he do this? It's just about navigating through life and, being able to keep your head above water. So I think an athlete can relate to that and a 9 to 5 working person. So like I said, you're always going to need that resilience. So that's why, I kind of felt that it was important to tell my story for sure.
Why do you not, and I hear what you're saying, but
Mhm.
why do you not consider it success? Because success is whatever definition you deem it to be. So for me,
Mhm.
regardless if you made it to pros or not, because like you said, it's only a few people that's gonna make it
Yeah.
that way. You
Yeah.
graduated college, you got your degree, and you
Uh-huh.
doing what you set your like think about what you said. Now you said
Uh-huh.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have been thinking about this since eighth grade.
Mhm.
So
For
why do you
sure. Yeah.
not deem it a success story?
Yeah. So I think success is the wrong choice of words. I would say
Okay.
it's not a story of fame. It's a story of,
Gotcha. Yeah.
because people get it confused. Like, hey, he was famous and this happened and that happened. My story isn't a story of fame. It's just a story of resilience. So
Got
everybody's going to need that at one point in time in their life. So, like I said, that's probably the main reason why I wrote it. I
okay.
remember being at a Laros bar one time on U Street. And it was right before I had intended to write my book, but I heard these group of Latinos over there, and they were just telling like jokes, and I never heard it until I actually heard them say it. But they were like, "Hey, you want to hide something from a black man? You put it in a book." So I whispered to my friends, and I'm like, "Did you hear what they said?" So my friends started laughing, but I didn't think it was funny. So
That's wild.
that night, I went home, and I swear to God, I just started writing like my book. I started writing my book from the end, and then I did the middle, and then I went back to the middle, and then I did the end and stuff like that. So it was kind of all over the place, but I just remember start writing. So that was something that kind of motivated me for sure. But yeah.
Can I answer Rob Jackson? Rob Jackson. First of all, Rob, we gonna get you back on the show. I ain't forget you talking about this C team. I wasn't on no damn C team. I was on the B team. I was an all-star on the B team. You hear me? Everybody, I was the number one ranked player in the whole B League AAU program.
He
Yeah.
almost
We
got bought.
lead.
Hey,
No,
but with that
Robert,
being
Robert
said,
definitely put you in position, man. I
hey,
remember, man. I
hey,
remember
hey,
this
look
one
here,
time.
E. I
Uh,
played football. Only reason why I played basketball so the ladies could see me without my helmet on. I could care less about that shit. I played football. Period. I
yeah,
football Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and
yeah.
again on Sunday, whatever. I'm a
Got you,
football player. Put me
got
on the
you.
best. I used to. Rob knew what he was doing. Rob put me on the best player on offense. I use all 5 fouls, and we
Yeah,
good. That was my
yeah.
job.
He
So
definitely
with
knew
that
how.
being said, Rob, I'm serious. I'm not saying that you would tell him, but what I'm saying is Rob has so many different connections,
Mhm.
and especially with a lot of the AAU people out there in Silver Spring. Why you ain't bring them out there with us, Rob?
Hey,
Yeah.
he said that's fake news. Oh, you were on the C.
Nah, Kobe typed that. Kobe typed that.
No,
Kobe
he
typed that.
said, no, that's wrong. He said, I didn't
Right.
say you were the CT.
Dang, I ain't even know. We ain't had no C team. We had 9 dogs, man.
We ain't had no C team. We had a B team though. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey,
We had an A and a B team
I
for
don't think
sure.
I don't think we had
they
that.
created a C team for my cousin, E.
Hey,
They
Yeah.
hey,
created it
hey,
just for
hey,
him.
look. Hey, E, you ain't know about this B team because you was already number one ranked player in the country, so you was good.
I
Rob
I
had took
do
you
I
know.
do
Hey, look.
remember us being 12 and then we went up to play some I think it might have been Baltimore Select, but we played like that 15s or 16 year old team. We ended up beating them by 30. So we was 12.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I bet
I
you remember
remember
at the
that.
practices when Rob said 30 laps when
Oh
you got to
yeah.
start.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and I bet you it was more than 12 people in that gym.
Oh yeah. Yep. I remember running those stairs up University of Maryland like it was yesterday.
Man,
So
Rob was
it was a reason
crazy,
why
man.
I was flying past everybody in the game. So yeah.
Hey, but no, that Rob do such a great job. You know what I'm saying? With as far as just giving different avenues to people. So I know Rob
Right.
probably was just like, hey man, I'm here to support you. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Whatever your decision was, because Rob used to tell me about what helped me with football stuff. You know what I
Got you.
mean, and things like that. So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I like I said, I salute
Mhm.
Rob when it comes to the AAU program. I don't think he gets his just due at all
For
compared to
sure. Yeah.
how many guys he had, how many guys he helped, and what they're
Mhm.
like I said, what they're doing now. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
No
He won't
disrespect to the
be getting
basketball.
it
Fuck the
just
back.
due for me.
What you
Yeah.
say?
And and that's why I
What?
always kind of speak on ill intent. You never really know who has ill
Yeah,
intent, but I know people such as Rob Jackson like that. Like now that I can measure my career, I can clearly see, night and day who
yep,
clearly had, ill
yeah,
intent, who did. And even, I don't know if y'all know this guy Walter Ray. Walter Ray is a big influential guy in my life too. He kind of come from the Tacoma Park area, but
yeah. I
he's
know
one of
Walter
those.
Ray.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's one of those guys that's behind the scenes and just
yeah,
always doing the right thing when nobody's looking, man. So he has such this incredible, remarkable, sense of integrity that I kind of, picked up on. So even when I was younger, I remember, like, even though I was young, there's certain things that I still can remember vividly. And he's one of those things that I can remember because he used to give me like this look. And I didn't know what the look was really until I became an adult, but he kind of gave me a look of like, man, these adults are using the shit out you, man. And I just
yeah.
feel so bad. But I could feel that look on him back then, but I just didn't really know what it was. So he's one of the, people that I definitely wish that
Shout
I
out to
could have
Walt,
could have
man.
could
Walt
have
been
could have
doing it
reached
for a
out
long
to because
time.
yeah. So he does it with minimum resources, man, and he does it from the heart. So
Yep.
those are, some of the people that I wish I could have, kind of connected with when those type of things were going down. But like I said, I was a child, so I didn't really know the
Yeah.
magnitude of it or what was actually going on.
It don't matter. Everything happened for a reason, and you
For
blessed,
sure.
man. Because
Oh, for sure.
you blessing these youngins, and the number one thing you can give them is information.
For
So
sure. Yep.
salute to you, brother.
For
Salute.
sure. I appreciate it.
So
Go ahead,
so
Cole.
No, Coach got a question.
Oh,
I was just gonna speak on again. I'm trying to stay in the pocket on this. You're working with, being an educator. Because it's clear that Walter impacted you. It's clear that Rob impacted you. What from those gentlemen, you spoke to it on the side of sports. What from those gentlemen, from a mentoring aspect, some of the things that they taught you, are you instilling in the youth that you're working with today? Because they have impacted you, and they put their hand on you to kind of now where you're working in a space, working with kids. And I think you're taking some of the lessons or some of the conversations that you've had with them in the past and instilling it in the youth today. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is just to be intentional. Like those two adults were always intentional with me. So, like I said, coming from the neighborhood that I came from, I was always looking on the outside for what success like physically looked like. So, Coach Rob always drove a nice car. He always kept a clean cut. He was always in a suit and tie or like or well dressed. So some of those things kind of stood out to me because I'm like, listen, if I want to be successful, this is what it looks like. And even Walter Ray, he's a lawyer and he's a black man. So, little things like that. I'm like, yo, I can be successful without, ever touching a basketball. So like little things like that kind of motivated me to know that there are people, because seeing is believing. I never saw things like that in my neighborhood. So success to me or people in my neighborhood were the drug dealers or the pimps or the, things like that. And that was something that I knew, it wouldn't work out for me. You know what I mean? So, just seeing those type of things and seeing Coach Rob show up the way that he showed up for kids, and his level of commitment to kids, that was something that I knew that I wanted to kind of carry with me too. So yeah, but definitely for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, fellas, I think it's time to get Eric some rapid fire questions. What y'all think?
Let's do it.
So we're gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna try to make it difficult to have you answer them on the spot, but at the end of the day, they really not difficult. We just want you to answer right away without really putting too much thought in it. So go ahead, Coach Mill. Go ahead and start it off because I know you got a list.
So you mentioned already one of the guys, Jay-Z. Can you give me your top 3 hip hop duos?
Duos. Okay.
duos or artists?
Duos.
Duos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say number one, Jay-Z and Kanye West.
Okay.
Number 2, I would probably say Jay-Z and
Damn.
yeah. Yeah. All right, but for the sake of an argument, okay, but Jay-Z's number 1. So number 2, I'll go with DJ Khaled and any other rapper.
Okay.
Number 3, I would go with probably, let's see. Let's see. I'll probably go T.I. and 2 Chainz.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm simple. Jordan or LeBron?
Hold on. Let Coach Jack, because Coach Jackson wrote it on here.
I knew that question was coming. I was already prepared for that one.
Coach Jackson already had it in the chamber.
I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So y'all want me to answer that?
Yeah, it's for you. That's your rapid fire question.
Okay. So when I think of GOAT, I think Michael Jordan for sure.
Next topic. Next question. Great answer.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Great. You don't need to. E.
No, I'm gonna tell you why though.
Look, E.
No, I.
Hey, look, he was doing too much, E. He was doing too much.
I was gonna tell him why though. It's plain and simple.
Hey, E, yeah, you can go ahead and explain, but don't be next, brother.
I got you. So Michael Jordan is the best. Is the best player for the game. So as far as like ambassador pushing the game forward, he made people fear him. That was something that I kind of wanted to instill in myself too. So that's why I say Michael Jordan, because there were people that were literally afraid of him on the court. So that's why I give it to him. Now LeBron James is the best basketball player, hands down. because of what he can do, his skill set, the way that he makes people better, the way that he, can run a team. He doesn't, he can impact the game without scoring. So that's why I say that he's the best player. But as far as the GOAT, I'm thinking Jordan. Now, everybody always say that they can do something, but I guarantee you it was scary to witness that man and play against that man. I guarantee you it was a different experience than LeBron could provide for sure.
I get it. I ain't.
Mm.
I get it. Hey, salute.
He's a hater, man. He's a Jordan hater, man.
Uh-huh.
He be hating on Jordan.
Uh-huh. I got you.
Go ahead, Cole.
This is a conversation that me and O-Dog been having behind the scenes.
Uh-huh.
Who do you think the Wizards should pick with their number one pick?
And y'all might be mad at me, but I'm gonna go with Darius Acuff Jr. He can change the scope of a team, and the reason why I say that is because he plays at a different speed. If you watch the NBA, the teams that are most successful are the teams that play at a different speed and has that good guard. You think about Jalen Brunson, or some of those top kids like Tyrese Maxey. All those guys, those are game changers. So even though I like kids like DeBonsta and Peterson, I think that they kind of will even out when they go to the NBA because it's 30, 40 players that are just like them. But a kid like Acuff Jr., I think, can change the game that quick. So I definitely would take a chance and probably go number one with him.
I told Kobe should trade out of the. They should get a player from Utah. Say, okay, Utah, y'all want to get a bunch of the African dude. Y'all want a Bayo or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I say trade out of that first. Trade out of there. You trade with Utah, get the number 2 pick, and get a player on Utah.
Yeah. Or you can do that too. Yeah.
That's why I was like, and then then draft somebody.
I think that's what I was thinking the same thing. Oh, because AJ or Caleb, neither one of them cats could play with your man
Anthony
from
Davis.
Atlanta.
Don't nobody want to play with Anthony Davis, bro. He gonna be.
No. I'm talking about the point. I'm talking about the point guard. What's the point guard's name? The dude from the light-skinned shooter from Atlanta. Trey. You can't. Neither one of them guys could play with Trey because Trey handled the ball. The ball is a black hole with him. So you got to remember, Caleb and DeBonsta both like to have the ball in their hands. So you got Trey hold it. And when Trey left Atlanta, what's the dude? Darian, whatever his name is, his game propelled a whole lot when Trey got up out of there because now he has the ball in his hand and he's dictating more, and he's a defensive player as well.
And that's why I said Acuff, because he can do both ends of the floor and he gives the ball up early. So I watched him all year. He's not one of them ball dominant people. So he's trying to get to the rim in 3 dribbles or less. If he's not, he's giving it up and setting his man up. So
I like that idea of trading out number 1 because I think if you're gonna go AJ, Peterson, or Caleb will be one of the top. Those 3 guys.
Well, I think if Utah, that's the reason why he was so mad when when they showed him because Utah didn't get the first pick. So I think if you go Utah, you know
then
what I mean?
Then the number 1 pick.
They gonna go number 1, and now you either get Peterson or you get the other boys. So I'm like, but you can also get a pick. But my whole thing is like, why bring somebody there if they don't really want to be there?
If they don't want to be there,
If he don't want to be there, then excuse my language, man. Fuck you.
And that's what I say. That's what I say.
We can build this organization around. And like I told, like we was talking about Kobe, and I was like, man, why not a point guard? The last great success that the Wizards had was because of
John
point guard,
Wall.
whether it was John Wall or Agent Zero back in the day. So that's the best.
That's why I say that good guard player is gonna get you over the hump for sure.
Yeah.
So.
All them
they
wings,
definitely got
talented
the other players. They got the right pieces around a successful guard coming in because they got everything else.
No doubt.
But yeah,
with that being said,
that's a Blue Devil point of view right there. Players get drafted and don't want to go to the team he get drafted to.
I thought Steve Francis played for Executive 3.
No, he Blue Devil all day long. Blue Devil.
Steve Francis played for your team. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Blue Devil, Silver Spring Blue Devil. Him and Jason
No, he did
Sherry in the
not.
backcourt.
No, he did not.
Hey,
That's a lie.
Rob, tell it, hey, Rob, I
Yeah,
know, tell
he
his
played with the
man.
Blue Devils. I remember Steve Agent. His name was Nate. He ended up taking me to Las Vegas one time with them. So I remember him
Yeah,
vividly for sure. But
Man,
he
Nate
had an
wasn't
agent
with
named
Rob.
Nate.
Nate wasn't
Yeah.
with Rob. Nate was doing his own thing,
Y'all
man.
know Nate?
Yeah, I know
yeah,
Okay,
Nate.
we
yeah,
know
yeah.
Nate.
So Nate was Steve Agent. That was my man. Reggie
I
Gooch.
know Nate very well. I know his
Yeah.
wife. I know his wife
Okay,
Michelle.
yeah.
His wife Michelle is
Yeah.
my sister Tracy best friend.
Okay, yeah. Nate was a
Yeah,
good dude, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, now with that being said, who your favorite football team?
The Ravens, Baltimore.
I knew that was my man. I'm trying to
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
look,
I love
he's a
Baltimore since the first time I
Eagles
turned on the
fan.
TV. I saw Ray Lewis knock somebody's helmet off. I said, "That's my mob right there." I ain't even watch football. The first time I turned it on, I seen that man knock somebody's helmet off. I said, "Yeah, they play at a different speed." So I like them for a
You
long
right.
time.
They play at a different speed,
Yeah,
all
he
right.
like the Bengals. He like the Bengals. Of all teams, he like the
I
Bengals.
was like, "Hey, whoever this dude is, he out there trying to kill somebody. He trying to catch a baddie for real."
Yeah, yeah.
He almost literally caught
Yeah,
one for real.
yeah, sure did. But yeah, I love to be some Ray Lewis, man. I fell in love with the Ravens. So Ed Reed, all them dudes, man, even back then. So
Yeah. Top five DMV guards of all time, in your opinion.
point guards or just guards in general.
Whatever your preference is, you can go point guard and do guards in general.
Yeah. I would say Ty Lawson for sure. Um, I would say Trey Kelly for sure. Um, I would say Billy Eadlin for sure. Um, And I'm just speaking of my area and who I've actually
Yeah,
seen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
not like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
people before me. Myself for sure, I would definitely throw on there. And then I probably would have to go with Isaiah Swan for sure.
Okay.
How many is that? Is that
That's a
five
good.
or that's four?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
five,
fine.
right?
That's a good list. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I like
Yeah,
that
but
list.
it's real tough, man. Because you got it's a lot of us, man. You had people like Steve Harley, who was he averaged about 40 in high school, man. You know what I mean? He was a walking bucket. So I gotta definitely put him on the squeeze him in there somewhere too. But definitely for
Yeah.
sure. And then you got kids like Jerome Dyson who tore it up for UConn. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a bunch of talent. So you can go either way, man. But I just think of just pure natural God gifted talent. Those would
Mhm.
be probably the top five guys for sure.
Did you play against Scotty Reynolds?
Yeah. So
Y'all
yeah, I
remember?
played against Scotty Reynolds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured y'all
Yeah.
remember.
So mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think he might have played with Boo Williams, I want to say. I think all those guys was on Boo Williams or something like that. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead, Coach.
Give me your top defensive player from the 90s. Defensive guard, I would say. Defensive guards.
Defensive guard. In the NBA or what level?
Yes, sir. NBA. I'm up at
In
NBA.
the NBA. Um, Gee, that's tough. I would probably say Gary Payton. Gary Payton. Yeah, I'll probably say yeah. Yeah, because he
Okay,
used to put the straps on people for sure. So
gotcha.
mhm.
What you got, old dog?
I'm hurting over here, man. I'm still coming off that Baltimore Ravens, man. God,
I know you don't like the Commanders, man.
nah.
He
Right.
I
He
like I
the
like the
Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a different type nigga. E. I'm different, bro. Take a different type
it's all right.
motherfucker to root for the Bengals, bro.
Y'all don't like to pay y'all. They don't like to pay y'all players. We was about to get the dude from y'all.
Yeah, y'all did get him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we
Yeah,
was
y'all
gonna
did
get.
get him.
Oh, we was originally supposed to get Crosby. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
y'all can
Uh-huh.
have him. Y'all good. Y'all can have him.
Yeah.
Nike or real simple, Nike or Adidas.
Oh, Nike all day.
My man. My man.
if you could go back in time and talk to your 14-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Yeah, great question, man. I would just tell myself to give myself grace. There was so much pressure that I put on myself for being so young and just not knowing the unknown. So I just wish I would have trusted the process within myself a little bit more. But it was so hard because, like I said, I was talented, but also had a gift to be highly intelligent. So I didn't really bet on myself as much as I could have, because truth be told that I was more intelligent than some adults back then. So just being able to bet on myself is something that I wish, I would have done a little more for sure.
Got something, Coach?
I'm gonna just go start, bench, or cut. Empire, power, or snowfall.
So start
Start,
bench and cut.
start snowfall. I'm a bench. Who you say power and what else?
Empire, power, and snowfall.
You put
Yeah,
Empire
Empire's going on the bench for sure. No, Empire's getting cut.
Yeah,
Power's going on the bench. Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
No way I'm asking a question after that one.
that was diabolical.
Hey, man, sometimes you gotta agree to disagree, man. That's what life is about. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going through. What we're going through now as a country, we can't agree to disagree, man.
That is crazy.
So I got one final rapid fire question for you, and I get this question to all of our DMV legends that come on the show. So if you could pick 10 guys from the DMV to go with you to any city in the country, Chicago, New York, LA, wherever, to play ball against the best of the best around the country. What 10 players are you taking with you? And it could be somebody you've seen play, it could be somebody you played with. I don't care if it was rec league, high school, college, pro, whatever the case may be. What 10 you taking through the battle anyway?
Got you. Definitely going Kevin Durant. Definitely going Mike Beasley. I don't know if y'all familiar with Jonathan Hargett, but he was a beast. He was a dog. I'm taking him with me. Let me see. Ty Lawson, I'm taking with me. Isaiah Swan, I'm taking with me. That's 5. There was a guy named Duke Head that came from DC, the Northwest area, back in the day. He was really good. I think he played with like John Dorn or Bebe Dorn or one of them guys. But his name was Duke Head. He never really made it far, but I'm definitely taking Duke Head with me. Let's see. I'm taking Adrian Dantley with me. I'm definitely taking Adrian Dantley with me. Let's see. I'm taking
3 more.
I'm taking Keith Bogans with me.
Bogey, shout out Bogey.
Taking Keith Bogans with me. I'm probably gonna take Billy Edlin with me. And then last but not least, either probably Jesse Sapp. So Jesse, who went to National Christian. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking those 10.
Nasty 10.
Yeah.
Man, we ask a lot of people that question, and that was a good that was some different names.
Yeah.
But for some reason we don't hear Steve Francis' name a lot on when we say
I was thinking either Steve or Jonathan Hargan, but Jonathan Hargan had that game to where he was so low to the ground, man. There's nothing you can do with him. So that's why
where'd he go to school at? Out in DC or Maryland?
I think I want to say he went to National Christian, and then he went to West Virginia. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he went to National Christian. Yeah.
He played with Trevor out there.
Yeah. So I remember him, man. That dude was a beast, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Hey, my favorite player on that list is Duke Kid. Anybody named Duke Kid?
Oh, you familiar? Oh yeah,
Nah,
man.
I'm
I'm
just
telling
saying.
you, ask
Just
around the city
saying,
about Duke Head, man. He was
yeah,
a
it sounds
serious
like we
cat. So
getting busy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Pep
You
Tyson from them dudes from Trinidad, all they know who Duke Head is. So
shit.
yeah,
We don't
Okay.
need to ask. We
yeah,
add you. You said it on
yeah,
your on your. You we
yeah.
Yeah,
can't pick
what you
Man,
say?
anybody.
Duke Head was
If
the
Hey,
you
real
pick Duke
deal.
Head,
hey,
then
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, then we had another dude named Calvin, so they used to call him Thug. But man, Thug was I played Thug 1-on-1. He from my neighborhood, Certain Quarters. This is a true story. This one I was ranked the #1 player in the country.
uh,
Doug, God rest his soul, but he was out smoking crack. And we played 1-on-1 and he beat me. I could not take the ball from him. He backed me down from the three. We were playing 1-on-1. He would back me down, take his time, and get me to a spot and score. I've never been so embarrassed in my life, man. Calvin was the real deal, man. I thought I was gonna beat him about 13-0.
damn.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but
Man,
yeah, he
that's
was a
Only
beast,
on the
man.
No Cap
That
Sports Show
he
Yeah.
podcast will you
smoked
ever
crack
hear
Yeah.
before he
a
played.
story like that.
This is a true story. And there was another dude from Sursum Quarters. His name was Poochie. And I remember when y'all asked me like what gave me the drive coming up in the boys club. Poochie
Mhm.
had one arm. So you know the kid Hansel, like how the
Yeah.
kid is now. Poochie
Yeah,
back then, he was Hansel back then. So he had one arm, and they would always people wouldn't pick Poochie because he had one arm. But every time I got him on my team, man, Poochie was shooting threes like this or with his offhand, man, and it was nothing but net. And he used to be like, Mike, he loved Michael Jordan. So
yeah,
that's what they say. But I promise you, I've never seen this man miss, bro. It was so remarkable, man. But stuff like that, I'm like,
yeah,
man, this dude can get on the court and dominate with one arm. I know I can,
yeah.
I can do this. So, but yeah, Poochie was another one. So Rob Nickens from Roosevelt,
Oh
they were
yeah,
kind of they were good friends. So Rob and Poochie and this dude named Fuzzy, both of those dudes passed away, but those were two Rob Nickens' close friends. But man, them dudes can hoop for sure.
okay. Wow.
Yeah,
That's like you remember Doug Dormu?
yeah, yeah,
He had
yeah,
the one he dominated in high school.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You
But
can't
man,
forget about Greg Jones too. So
oh
big
G
shout out to
Jones,
Greg.
what up,
I
G?
definitely, my bad, Greg. I gotta put you on that team and take you, man. So I
Hey,
got
what was
definitely
his favorite
somebody gotta get a uniform up, Greg. I don't know who it's gonna be, but somebody gonna take it off, man.
What was he
Yeah,
thinking about, Wes? Hey, Wes, I
yeah,
got some more gear coming your way, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But man, that's all we got, man. Hey, Eric, man, we appreciate you showing love on the show,
Yeah,
man.
anytime, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Man, hell of an interview, man. I really enjoyed it. You family now, man. You welcome back here anytime, whether it's a part 2 of an interview or you just want to come in here and kick it with the homies and just talk some sports. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You welcome back
Yeah.
anytime.
That's the
Shout out
best.
to Coach Rob Jackson for connecting the dots and making all this happen. Blue Devils did something right for a change. You know what I'm saying? So, salute to the Blue Devils. But to all our viewers and listeners, we appreciate the support each and every week. We're going to keep bringing you great shows, have great guests like Eric Price. We appreciate you. You know how we do. Respect and honor, and always salute.
All right, fellas. Y'all take care, man. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
you,
me.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
No
Okay.
Cap Sports Show. Where sports and